Today is going to be a little bit of a strange stream again, because I have other things I have to be at tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to do the stream today, so it's going to be one of those time travel streams again. And again, I'm eating because I know how much you guys. Oh my God! No, I know how much you guys appreciated it last time. I'm going to tweet about this, and I'm sorry for anyone who's watching this on YouTube the day after. It was either this or no stream at all. So I think I got everything in order. I'm going to turn that off. We don't need that. We need that. Go away. Okay. Here we go. Let's do that one. So, last week we did stuff. So today is the 13th. That would mean that the 7th is last week. So we updated the to-do list. That's not incredibly interesting. Players can now respawn again. That's kind of a nice feature to have. So I'm happy we took care of that. It's nothing super interesting about that. Update the to-do list, added path crash reporter. Right, and we changed so that the black hole now will take half of your points whenever you get eaten. And players have friction. So I suppose this took a really long time. Yeah, it did. Or this was our first commit. So that's cool. Yeah, there's some stuff going on here. So the question is, what should we do today? I'm not entirely sure, as usual, what to do. So this is what we have to choose from. We got the score thing. That's not incredibly interesting. We got the teams thing. Also not something I'm super keen on. So maybe it's the black hole can grab multiple things. Maybe that's what we should do today. I also have one extra little secret thing I want to do. Someone wrote an extension for OpenFL that uses X input instead of, I think OpenFL uses whatever SDL uses, which is like the normal joystick interface on Windows or whatever. I'm not entirely sure how that works on the back end, but either way, it uses X input, which is good for the Xbox controllers for a couple of things. One of them is that you actually get these two triggers as two separate axes. It's not something I necessarily care that much about, but if you map it as a normal joystick, these are one axis, which is weird. So you can't really, you can know if you press them individually, there's no problem, but if you press them at the same time, it's as if they weren't pressed at all. But the big thing is you get control over the force feedback motors. The Xbox controllers have one bigger motor that's, well, it's on one side of the controller. Let's say it's on the left side of the controller, like a bigger that does like a low frequency rumble, and a smaller one that's on the other side of the controller that's more high frequency one, which you can use for cool stuff. Since the game can only really be played with the Xbox controllers right now, I think that would be a nice thing to add. But that's like a 3-minute thing. So let's get into the black hole. I think everything is committed since last week. Yeah. Okay, black hole. This keeps getting unchecked. I don't know why. So, as I said, I think we looked at this briefly last week before we ended. The black hole has a couple of things that is like per thing it's grabbing. So it is the attract progress, the eat progress. Those are like this little cooldown here, which is basically a timer that just counts down, and when it gets to 0, it triggers a function. That's what this little cooldown class does. Let me set this. Maybe even do it this way. This is a new thing. I haven't tried this before. Look at that. Yeah, so this function, or this little timer, is ticking down. Whenever this reaches 0, it will check around the black hole, because I don't really need to do that every frame. It's enough if I do that like a couple of times a second to look for things that the black hole can grab. Once it finds something to grab, it will start this progress thing. And when the progress starts, it creates a physics joint between the center of the black hole and the thing it wants to attract. And as this progresses, the joint gets shorter and shorter. So that's what pulls you in, and there's no escaping that. Like that joint is like, I wouldn't say infinitely strong, but it's very strong. So you can't get away from it. And then you just spin around in the center for a little while, which is the eat progress. And it goes, whoop, and then phew, you go away. So these two guys, the joint and the attractee, which is basically the thing, the whole is pulling in. I'm not entirely sure what start distance is. Oh, right. So it keeps track of how long or how far away the thing was when it started. And this is typically always the outer rim of the black hole, but to make sure that things aren't, like if something's moving really fast and it gets within range of the black hole, I don't want it to pop out. So that's also going to need to be its own little thing. I think Fizz position is just yeah, that's just the position of the black hole in the physics world, so it's using that to calculate how far away things are. So I think if we get these guys separated out into their own thing, we're in good shape. So we'll make a class. I'm naming it attractee right now because I don't know what else to name it. And we'll make all of these public. And then I can change that to be target. I guess that makes more sense. Or even actor. That makes even more sense. Then we're going to need a constructor, public function, new, and I suppose this will need to take a target, actor. That's an actor. And the other ones, I suppose, start distance too. And then, whenever it actually starts attracting something, here. Attract. We're going to make it go bar attractee. That's a hard word to spell. Actor. Oh, right. Yeah, I don't need to give it the... Hello, Alex. I don't need to give it the start distance. We can just calculate that in... But I do need a reference to the black hole itself. Or rather... Well, yeah, we'll try and work this out. So this actor, and we'll take this stuff and we'll move it into here. So it creates a joint definition, and it initializes the joint. And this is going to be black hole body, actor body, black hole body. Oh yeah, that's cool. I suppose we're gonna have to go black hole. Does it have a reference to the world? No. These two guys. So I'm basically just moving things around right now. Handle, attract, complete. Whoops. Sorry about that. I bet that was loud. So the question is, do I run these? Yeah, let's just move these onto the attractee. We'll move them back if we need to. Let's try and compile, see what we get. Missing semicolon. That's okay. We can fix that. Okay. Lots and lots of errors. So, first things first. Attractee is now null. That's fair, because I removed that. So now the black hole has no concept of things it's attracting. So we're going to need to keep a list instead. Attractees. We'll make an array. That will be fine. So this is always going to be running now. Because this is like the thing we're changing, right? So before it would only look for a new thing to attract when it was empty, like when it wasn't attracting anything. Now we're changing that. So we're making it always look for things to attract. We might change that again later. So this is the thing that will actually destroy the attractee, which is something we're going to need to put on the attractee. So this is going to need like an update function or something. Right. So this also needs to go on the attract T. It's kind of a weird word. Bopmoff, yeah, I'm sorry. Thursday had to be moved. So when it updates, it checks if the actor is faded, or if the actor is not alive, or if the actor's body is null. That means we're dead, we're gone. If the joint is not null, it will delete the joint, and it will set the joint to null just to make sure. And it will also set the actor to null, like if either of these were true. This is by checking these two, we'll know if it's time to remove this attractee. This will make the thing we're attracting spin, so that should be fine. Right, yeah, this is, we'll see. Handle, so yeah, this is like a double check. It's checking, so this is code on the black hole again, it's checking to make sure that it doesn't have any targets right now. So we're getting rid of that. These are just variables that used to be have the black hole as the scope. So we just need to add a black hole to those. Okay, so this is not going to work, but we'll try it anyway. I'm going to go in here. It makes an awful lot of noise. So what happened was this countdown thing, whatever it is here, check collision countdown, is running once a second even. That's not very often. And it will check all the asteroids. Like, okay, am I colliding with any of these? And then it will check all the players. Okay, am I colliding with any of these? And if it does, it will attract that particular thing. And it will do that by creating an attractee, which we've made. And that will create the joint and everything, but it won't actually, or supposedly create the joint and everything, but it never actually updates, it never changes. So what we need to do is we need to go attractees. We push the attractee we created onto that list. And here we're updating. We go for actually, let's make this a list instead, because the list has the benefit of letting you remove things from it as you're iterating, which is very nice. Makes things a lot easier. So we'll make a little thing here called public var is alive. Function get is alive, which will return actor null and joint null. That means it is alive. If either of these are present, it will return true. I think it'll be fine. So you can go if it's a little bit annoying to have things named attractee and attractees. But what can you do? So it's still making an awful noise because it never actually checks if this thing we're attracting is already being attracted. And so there's two ways of doing this, or there are several ways of doing this. But one variation would be for the black hole to check like what are the things I'm attracting already, and just compare to that and be like, okay, this is being attracted already. I can't attract that. On the other hand, if I ever change the level and put two black holes in, that's going to be complicated because then you might be attracted by two black holes at once and you'll just get stuck in between and everything's going to be weird. But I think for the time being, I'm fine with that. So I don't want to do that check because, I mean, ideally, I want to iterate over the lists of things as few times as possible. I don't think it's going to matter that much because there's never going to be that many items. But I do want to make sure I do it at the last possible minute. So I'll do it here. So first we're checking, like, is this thing fading? Then we can't attach to it because it's dying, like it's going away. And then we'll check the distance, like is it close enough? Also a relatively cheap check. And if all of these things, or either of these things are not passing, we don't need to do the third check, which is going to be if it is already being attracted. So then we'll go for attractee in attractees. If actor is attractee, return false. Not too hard. It's like almost like declarative programming. Assuming you can spell. What now? Oh. Thank you, compiler. So now it only gets me once. Let's try this. So that kind of works. Asteroid. And me. So we can do 2 asteroids at the same time. This is going to be tricky. So, interestingly, if I get grabbed first, like this, it didn't work that time. Let's try it again. So if I can get myself grabbed first, like that, I'll still get the full points for the asteroid, because like when I die, it will take away half my points, and then the asteroid goes away, giving me the full score. But it actually works, which is kind of cool. Now the question is, before the implementation was one thing at a time, because like you do this, especially beginner players would just drive into the black hole carrying their asteroid like this, and both of them will get caught. And that's kind of confusing. So the thing you need to do is you need to kind of throw it in there. Which is a little bit tricky. Kind of like that. But I do like that the black hole is a little bit dangerous. Calstack is asking, or he says, or they say, sorry, nifty looking game, when did you start coding it? I can't remember. Who am I? What am I doing here? First commit, let's say November, last of October. So left, yeah, let's say November. That's when I started. Why not give the thing an impulse when you release it? I think I am actually doing that. No, it's only giving... Maybe it's giving it to the asteroid as well. Your ship is definitely getting a little push. But I doubt the asteroid's getting one. I think it is, but it's a very small one. I think this will be fine. But one thing I do want to do is I want to add a setting that will make it a little bit nicer to the players, like the outer bound of the black hole. false, and this true. Black hole attract radius ratio. I don't get it. Hey, someone followed me. And I wasn't paying attention. That's very rude of me. One moment. I'll work it out. It was that Brad. Thanks for following. So I think this is mostly for the asteroids. Let's look at this. So d, distance, I guess, is the distance between the physics position, which is the center of the black hole, and the center of the thing that we're attracting. And then it'll subtract the radius of the actor from that. Oh, right. This is, so yeah, if the distance is bigger than the radius of the black hole, it will discard the thing that it's attracting. Hang on. Gotta send a text message. So what I want to do is I want to go if contract bounds and D is bigger than it has to be that way around. Now if I define this, I can give it like a percentage boost outwards. Actually, no, that's not a good idea. I wonder if that makes sense. Whoops. Put that to 50%, which is kind of a bad idea. So now I should be safe. Like, this should not be a problem. Like, it will only actually get me once So I'm too deep in. So attract radius. That's annoying. All right, I put it to 50. So I've put it at 1. Okay, so that's the wrong way around. It won't really ever get me. And I've put it at 0. Put it at 1, gets me immediately. Put it at like 10%. It's only gonna get me once I go pretty deep in. So if we put this at like 85 or something, I can go kind of like that. Like there is some escaping. I can sort of skirt the edge and still get away. I wonder how these big asteroids will behave. I think that's pretty good. Probably increase that a little bit and then just put this at 80, I think. I think I want to make the pull on the players a little bit less powerful too. I wonder where I'm doing that. It's only applied to the players. Oh well, let's commit this first before we look too much for that. So that's good. Black holes can now is it possible, Calstack is asking, is it possible to push one asteroid with another? Yes, you can do any manner of physics engine shenanigans, including, I don't know, crazy stuff. Any bonuses for multi-roid, i.e. multiple asteroid scoring? No. I don't. I think it's going to be really hard to do that ever. So I don't feel like it's something. It's not going to be something I'm in a rush to add anyway. So I wanted to tweak the attraction force. I suppose the one place it would make sense to do this is in the cone for a black hole. No. Are the players doing it themselves? Yeah, here we go. Center force. I think. Probably this one, player inner bound force. Hello, nimble kitten. Player inner bound force. Yep, that's the one. So player inner bound force used to be 1.6. Let's put it at like let's lower it a little bit, but not that much. 1.2, I think. Made players. I ought to start writing some comments in my code. Maybe. There's some comments in here. Few. I think most of it is fine. There's this sort of balance to keep between, because like comments would never, like I have some code to attract the player towards the center. Turns out it's towards the center where it really would make sense to attract the players towards black holes, because if I ever move that black holes, it could be weird. But having comments wouldn't have helped me with that, because it's either in like the collection of players, or it's in the player itself, or it's in the black hole, or it could be in like the game class itself, or it could be in the collection of black holes. So there's several places it can be. That would all kind of make sense. It's just that I didn't remember where I put it, and comments wouldn't really have helped me with that. I suppose I could have searched and found it. Like the gold standard for code, at least for the way I look at it, is like if ideally it doesn't even need comments. Most of the time it's going to be hopefully if you write it in a sensible way, it can just be, you can read it from top to bottom. And if you're doing funky stuff like this, you'll add a comment to like explain what's going on. But there's really not much sense in, like, the start of the laser is set to the center of the body. That makes sense. The end is set to the like the local end is set to the local point of the laser's start point, and then it figures out this is maybe a little bit, could need some explaining, but this basically figures out the normal, which is the direction of the drill, and then it adds this to the start point of the laser, and then works out where the end point is going to be. So it's not all that bad, I say, but it's my code. So that's a big item off our to-do list. That's very nice. Didn't take all that long either. Then maybe we should do the vibration today as well. So I'm going to jump over to another project. Steal a thing. So this is going to be very quick. This is only going to work on Windows. Oh right, I need to steal more things. La 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 la. Space. Slicer, that's the game we're making. Game. Lots of sloppy white space. Gonna commit these. That's important. Actually, I'm just gonna lump it in with that. Updated to do and secretly deleted white space. So here, it's setting up the joystick inputs. I'm gonna do this. Maybe it makes more sense to do it in a different fashion. Because it's only really yeah, let's go back on this. We'll do it that way. I'm not entirely sure these axis and joy mappings are the same. It's going to be a little bit confusing. So it's either going to be that or that. That's going to replace that line. So if we are doing C++ version, then we have the joystick available. Well, we won't have that for Flash. Or at least not the way I've implemented things. It's possible. So if we also have X input It will create a joystick using this class. And that should be I'm not entirely sure how this is going to deal with sticks that aren't present, but we'll see. And then we'll just get rid of that. And that's also old crap we don't need. Compiling. That's a lot of compiling. Oh, it's because I added another library. And this library is called OpenFL Xinput. I don't think it's on Haxilib, and I actually have my own fork on GitHub that I think adds Windows XP compatibility. Controls seem to be working. The question is, are we running? Are we running Xinput? So Haxi compiles to C++ files. Yes, amongst other things. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't. So down here. Oh my god, Xinput. So that all works. So we don't really need that. Go away. So now I think I have updated my little thing here. This is not going to work super well on stream, but we'll try it anyway. Input, set. No? Oh, so I have to go. Yeah, here it is. Vibrate high frequency. So I can tween this. Can't remember what the range is on that. Oh yeah, so it's 1 for maximum. And I'll tween just to see if this works at all. Down to 0 again. It is actually vibrating. I can barely feel it though. That will make it so that it goes like whenever the laser is running, the controller will be vibrating. We put that on high frequency instead, make it like 0.4. That's kind of not working. Where is it? Oh, right. So in the laser state, it's doing these things. So we'll just put it in here. Nice that I managed to hit the asteroid so the laser never actually turns off. That feels nice. So I'm gonna make it, so right now it will do like a low frequency, a little hum as you're drilling. And I wanna make it go, do something when you're killed as well. So maybe a little bit lower frequency in total, but for maybe a little bit longer. I haven't really done controller vibrations that much, so I'm not super experienced with them. Okay, that is wrong. So I noticed the laser didn't turn off. Like if I did that, it wouldn't turn off. So that's also kind of nice. And now I suppose we'll do one for being. Like if is fading. We'll do something crazy here. See what that feels like. Nimblekit, and if you're interested in the C++ code that's generated, we can actually take a look at that later. Okay. That's probably not a good idea. How about we make it so that the black hole, whenever it starts attracting something, will actually notify the thing that it's attracting. And then we can override that. And do something like set the low frequency vibration to 0 to make sure, and then we go settings, black hole, attract, no, something duration. Time attract. So this will make it go like whoop, 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 as it's attracting you, and then it will just go quiet, and then it will make for like a bigger boom once you get. Oh right, I forgot to actually set it to 0. So on complete, and we'll go function. Some nasty programming right here, but it will do. I don't think I want to bring it up all the way either. Actually, maybe it should be high frequency. This is probably going to be the last thing we do today. That feels good. I don't know, feels a little bit weird, and it just turns off. We'll make it a little bit longer. I think I want to add a little bump as you're attaching to an asteroid as well. I wonder. Attach your toggle. So here. Again, kind of ugly, but it'll do. That should probably be high frequency. I could mix them as well, I guess, but can't be bothered. So now it feels more like a humming. It goes like, vroom. I wanted to go, vroom. So we'll see. It's not like, it takes a little while because it's like a weight on a motor that's spinning. Yeah, the low frequency or the high frequency motor is definitely on the right side of the controller. Let's try this for low frequency again, because it gets weird because the drilling is on the high frequency one too, so that gets overwritten by the tween, which of course is fixable, but it's funky when the sound sometimes does not appear. Okay, one more thing. I need vibrations for the respawn. That should do it. works really well. I'm actually a little bit sad I didn't do that before. Super cool vibration feedback for Xbox controllers. So before we end for today, let's take a quick peek at the generated code by popular demand. So if we take a look inside here, so this is where it generates a Visual Studio project on Windows and then uses that to compile like behind the scenes. So here it has like all the source files, and it's like the complete Haxi API, like the programming language API, as it were, are implemented or is implemented in C++, and little libraries and stuff are in there as well. And if I go in here, my code is in here as well. So since we did black hole today, we can take a look at that. So it's not super beautiful code because, well, it's generated, but it's actually not that awful. It's completely human readable. So all the includes, and it maps pretty well, like one-to-one. And this is for debugging. So it'll keep track of which stack line it's on. So it peppers these all over the place. If I do a release compile, it might do one without. No. Well, there's a compiler flag you can set if you want to get rid of those. They get removed when you're compiling for release, so they doesn't really matter. Other than that, you can see, like if we bring up the black hole code here next to it. So like if we take a look at, let's say, yeah, we've got the update function here. Let's try to put them next to each other. So first, it's going to go do all the, like, this is where it is in the stack. This is what this is. This is the argument that I was sent. All debug stuff, so we can ignore those. It's going to clean this up so you can read it. So it runs the update function on the super class. It runs the render function on this class. This for thing collapses down into this iterator that it runs. So this gets a little bit hairier, but not by much, really. Functionally, it's the same. And then it does the check, sees if attract T is alive, and that collapses down to be my getter function. Well, here it's a variable, because that's the way I implemented it. Really, behind the scenes, this is a function. And if that's not true, it will run the remove function, and else it will run the update function. And then it will update the cooldown. And sometimes it does stuff like this, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think this might be like an order of operations kind of thing. I wonder if it's different if I do that. So now this file is going to get mangled. No, actually not. I think it might be like an order of operations thing. The reason it does this, or I don't know. Sometimes it does stuff like that, but it's really because it needs to work the same on all platforms, right? and sometimes it really doesn't do that. Like C++ will do it one way, C# will do it another way, or Python or whatever the target language is. HackC also compiles to Flash, then it's bytecode. So it might have a slightly different implementation. So sometimes it needs to wrap stuff in function calls, basically, to get it to work right. And sometimes the compiler will be wrong. But it's fast enough for me. I don't have to care. So I'm really happy with it. I think that's all for today. Next week is going to be Nordic Game Conference, sorry. It's hard to keep them apart. Which means there's going to be a bunch of people here, so I might do something with that, or we'll see what happens. Hopefully there'll be a stream next week. I'm not entirely sure what my schedule is at all, really. But that's it for this week. Sorry I had to move the stream. I try, but sometimes things just doesn't work out. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you have questions, you can send them to me here on Twitch or on Twitter. It's down below in the description thing. This video and all the other videos in this series are on YouTube, and they'll be on Twitch for 2 weeks or something after the fact. So you can watch them there, and you can subscribe on YouTube. You can follow me on, all that stuff. So thank you so much for hanging out, and I'll see you guys next week.